Good evening. My name is Salud, and tonight I've written another story for you. You're a writer in a peaceful cafe when you come across a book that is magical and new while somehow being nostalgic. This is a peaceful adventure, and I hope it helps you fall asleep. If you like this story, please hit the like button and subscribe so you can be notified when I've written another one for you. Now, please get comfortable and focus on the sound of my voice. Let's begin. Something moves in the quiet cafe. You look up, tearing your gaze from your notebook. The leaves of the yucca and ivy vines sprawled across the top of a bookshelf are waving to you. A cool summer breeze blows in through an open window, ruffling your hair and the plants. After putting the cap on your fountain pen, you lean back in your chair, taking a long stretch and rolling your wrists. Tension leaves your shoulders and upper back as you reach your arms up. The cafe smells like coffee bean dust and chocolate, and you take a deep breath in, savoring it. You close the cover of your journal. The right words came to you, and your pen glided across the page. You wrote just for yourself, with no deadlines or obligations. It was joyful, and you were surprised at the world your words created in only a few hours, aided by your imagination and a strong mocha with whipped cream. It's a silly story about a necromancer searching for a magical cupcake recipe so they can cheer up their favorite zombie. You went into great detail about how it was lost in a treasure hoard guarded by a skeleton dragon. Deciding on a break while you contemplate if the magical cupcakes were peppermint or vanilla, you wander around the quiet cafe. There's a community library upstairs, and you ascend step by creaking step. You can smell dusty page books and flowering plants, and sunlight kisses your cheeks as you reach the top step and take in the old wooden bookshelves. A small handwritten sign says, "Take a book, leave a book, or don't. There's no pressure." Some books are the size of your palm, and others are so tall they have to be placed on the shelf at an angle. There are cracked leather spines that wink at you with the yellowed pages peeking out. They look lived in and used, like a retired couple in Florida after a long and happy life. Others are pristine, with crisp corners and white paper. They line the shelves in every color, every title, every subject imaginable. You walk through the bookcases, reading the titles at eye level. There's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Verbal Judo, The Gift of Fear and Grapes of Wrath. There's tiny pulp novels set in the far-off future, with pictures of retro spacemen blasting off on the cover. There's fantasy novels with the adventuring party on the cover, armed and ready to slay evil monsters and demons. You pick them up and consider them like items on a menu when you're not really hungry, putting them back carefully. There's a heavy thud as one book falls off the shelf behind you. When you turn around, it's laying in the middle of a patch of sunlight on the floor. It's made from soft blue leather, and there's no title on the spine. It fits perfectly in your hand, and when you thumb through the pages, you see beautiful illustrations of tarot cards. Perfect. You could use this in your story. Tucking your newfound treasure under your arm, you head downstairs and start packing up, ready to resume your day. Your house keys jangle as you unlock the door to your tiny loft apartment. The lights turn on with a gentle click, and your keys slide into the bowl by your door. The windows are open, and your brass kettle shines in its home by the stove. You're home and surrounded by familiar sights and smells. Your study has a large, exposed brick wall that you've covered in art from your friends, showcased in smart black frames. There's a succulent garden on a metal serving tray in the corner, along with your small personal library. A redwood desk sits before a large bay window, your typewriter and notes spread haphazardly across it. There's a large silver mirror tucked in behind your books on the desk for when you try to draw your hands or need to describe an expression. Sitting down at your typewriter, you can hardly muster the energy to hit the first key. You did so much writing at the cafe with your pen. Surely a little break wouldn't hurt before you start on your work in earnest. Your eyes drift over to the towering bookshelf to your left. The spines of the books are old and familiar. A good mix of favorites you've held on to over the years and new books in sleek covers you can't wait to enjoy. When you reach for a beloved favorite, a story about a mermaid trapped on a ship of dreams, your book from the cafe falls down in front of you. The hair on the back of your neck raises, no doubt due to the fan blowing in the corner of your study. You reach down and pick the book up off the sunny hardwood floor. Curious. The pages are a different color than you remember. A pale, dusty rose. Exactly like your childhood bedroom. You haven't thought about it in ages, that room. Not since your parents started moving around a lot after your 8th birthday. But it was in your childhood home, a square room with a big window overlooking the backyard and your rusty swing set. The room was covered in dusty pink fabric curtains. You hated them because they weren't dark enough to keep the daylight out. You blink, shaking your head and feeling the weight of the book in your hands. That was strange. You didn't think you had that many memories associated with that color. Didn't Coco Chanel do something like that? She made a famous purse that was lined with the same color as the uniform at the orphanage where she grew up. You read that she made sure the purse had a secret compartment for love letters. The thrifted wingback chair in the corner of your study looks very inviting, with a patch of sunlight kissing the edge of the orange seat cushion. Telling yourself that reading counts as improving your writing, you settle in and turn the dusty pink pages of your strange new book. There's no dedication, no foreword, no publication date, or copyright. You turn it over, curious to see if it's been bound by human hands rather than a machine. The pages are rough, the kind that need to be cut open with a knife because the paper was folded before being bound. What kind of book is this? Your mind feels tired from that question, and the sunlight is so warm. You make a note to investigate further later and start at the page marked 1 with a scrolling calligraphy that twists on itself artfully. It's a story about a pair of ghost sisters, floating specters who had nothing tangible about them save the crowns upon their heads. They lived in a castle that had been lost to time. Within its ancient walls, the ghost princesses played endless games of hide-and-go-seek in the many wings and rooms. You turn the pages, curious and intrigued. One day, a handsome traveler arrives to the castle, and everything changes. From the moment his leather boots hit the dusty cobblestones of the foyer, the ghosts are smitten with his strong jawline and curly brown hair. "Look at the way his sword hangs on his hip," one ghost whispers to the other. "Yes, he is left-handed, just like me. Ah, if only he were a ghost." They conspire and plan to keep the explorer happy, leaving treasure and notes for him to find along his exploration. You put the book down and blink 6 times, feeling your eyelashes beat back the dust motes floating in front of your window. The book feels light in your hands, the pages threatening to spill open. The kettle you put on earlier begins to hiss, and you reluctantly leave the comfort of your chair. You put the book on your desk, the pads of your fingers brushing against the soft leather cover as you walk towards the kitchen. Daylight streams in through the giant bay window, your green velvet kitchen curtains swaying gently in the breeze. The hiss of the kettle quiets to a small meow as you lift it off the heat by the worn wooden handle. The kitchen fills with the sounds of clinking teacups. The water swirls in the bottom of the white cup, turning the most beautiful shade of deep orange. You fill matching containers with cold cream and purple lavender sugar. Pulling out a wooden breakfast tray, you lay out all the saucers and cups, everything fitting together like a mosaic. There's just enough room for a small plate of strawberry macaroons, dusted with gold powder. The china rattles softly as you carry everything back to your office. Sitting down in front of the tray, you feel like a witch brewing a favorite old potion. The steam from the tea rises up, warming your face. The cream is poured in with a gentle plump, and the color swirls and changes to a soft brown. Next is the sugar, added with a dainty silver spoon. It clinks merrily against the glass as you stir. Then you lean back in your chair, take a deep sip, and reach again for the book that found you. You continue the story about the ghost princesses and the treasure they lead their handsome adventurer to. He finds rubies and sapphires, a chess set sculpted from pure silver that catches the light, and a pair of tiny golden binoculars. But as he walks through a dusty ballroom with a mirrored wall, he sees the ghost princess's reflection and gasps with fright. The ghosts weep at his reaction, and after a long conversation, he learns they have fallen in love with him and wanted to share their treasure to savor his company. The adventurer leaves, and the princesses are heartbroken. You are too, reading your book and sipping your tea, your eyebrows knit together. How could he be so cruel? You read on, feeling pity for the two ghosts. Then you turn the page, and the prince returns 1 year later. He bursts through the doors of the castle and marches straight up to the mirrored wall in the ballroom. He apologizes for the wait, then pushes his hand against the mirror before stepping through it. "I thought you would like some company," he says. He had learned magic in the year he was gone, becoming a powerful sorcerer. The ghost princesses are delighted, floating around him like happy bubbles. The three of them spend the rest of their days together, exploring the castle and learning about each other. You smile as you read, your teacup growing empty as the pages turn. There is still an inch of paper left, and you leaf through the remaining pages, determining that it must be some kind of wholesome short story collection. You touch the book to your chest and tip your head back, feeling a peaceful sleepiness settle over you. But before you can close your eyes, you see your typewriter at your desk and get up from your chair. Inspiration washes over you like waves in the ocean, and you realize that you have so many stories inside of you. Good ones and bad ones, silly ones and sad ones. You can make or write whatever you want, and you're only going to get better. Word by word, letter by letter, you're getting better, and a quiet confidence fills you as you sit down at your desk and begin to write your next story. The end. Thank you for sharing your time with me, for listening to my story, and for giving me a reason to write it. If you're still hearing this, I'm sorry you're still awake. Do you think another story would help? I'll leave 2 linked afterwards that I think you might enjoy. I'm sorry to ask this, but a large portion of the people who listen to my audios aren't subscribed to my channel. If you enjoyed my story, would you please share your time with me again by subscribing and ringing the bell? Thank you, and I hope sleep finds you soon. Good night.